Welcome back to FLAG-Plations, where I build typically queer flags in Minecraft and explain when they were made, by who, and their definition. This episode, we're focusing on the asexual spectrum, also referred to as the ace spec. The ace spectrum is very closely related to the aromantic spectrum. And since I also want to do a video on the aromantic spectrum, being that every asexual identity has its own aromantic counterpart, I have a plan to do both in a most efficient manner. This episode, I will be building half the aspec version of all these flags and then put up a picture of the aromantic form. Next episode, I will do the other half of terms I have planned and build them all with the aromantic flag and put up a picture of the asexual counterpart. Make sense? No. Great. Let's begin. Oh, and before this video actually gets started, because I'm not even bothering to have this debate in my comments, asexual people are queer. Asexual people who only identify as asexual and no other queer terms are queer. That's all I'm debating on about this conversation. Now let's begin. Our first flag is a term we discussed the first episode, and the umbrella term for all the rest of the flags, the asexual flag. These stripes stand for, from top to bottom, asexuality itself, the core of this unique identity, the gray area, encompassing varied degrees of attraction, reflecting non-ace partners and allies, and finally, community. This flag was created in 2010 by members of AVN, also known as Asexuality Visibility and Education Network. Asexuality stands for little to no sexual attraction and can be used as an umbrella term like I stated previously. Before the ace flag was seen as a symbol for asexuality, they had tested out many different symbols, such as the ace of spades playing card, but the most popular of these symbols was the AVN triangle. The triangle was inspired by an old model of asexuality, where the white part represented the heterosexuality to homosexuality spectrum and the black part represented asexuality. While this model is very outdated and doesn't correctly represent ace identities, it did inspire the black, white, and gray colors we see in today's ace flag. The purple stripes come from the creator of AVN after drawing inspiration from an obscure legend from ancient Greece and Roman times, claiming that purple amethyst placed in wine could wade the intoxication powers of Bacchus. This can be seen as a loose metaphor for lack of interest in sex. Our next term is GreyAce, also sometimes referred to as GreyAsexuality or GreySexuality. The purple on this flag representing asexuality, then entering a single episode of attraction, gray to white, while also representing Alosexuality. Alosexuality is basically the opposite of asexuality, feeling sexual attraction. This flag was designed by Milith Rusengedlo on June 21st, 2013. GreyAce is defined by experiencing sexual attraction but very infrequently. The concept of GreyAsexuality developed in early 2000s on the AVN forums. In 2003, an AVN member proposed the concept of demisexuality, naming a halfway point between being asexual and not. Later in 2006, an AVN member K-Spaz proposed the term GreyA to describe the fuzzy space in the asexuality spectrum. This can also be used as an umbrella term. And here's the gray romantic version of the flag. Up next is Demisexual. From everything I can find, the colors have the same meaning as the original asexual flag, just with a different design. The term was coined in February 2006 by the AVN. As for the flag, it emerged sometime after 2010, but unfortunately I cannot find the exact date. Demisexual is identified as only feeling sexual attraction to someone they have established a close emotional connection with. The demi-romantic version of this flag has a green supporting stripe instead of a purple. Now on the opposite side of that spectrum, we have Fraysexual. These colors stand for strangers, acquaintances, lack of attraction, and confusion surrounding sexual attraction. This flag was designed by Pride Archive on Tumblr. Blue is chosen to be a complementary to the red and yellow, which represent romantic and platonic love. Fraysexuality is only feeling sexual attraction to someone they have not yet established a close emotional connection with. The Frey romantic flag is almost a flipped version of the Fraysexual flag, which is really neat. You may have heard of this next term before, but in a negative light because people misunderstood the meaning. This next term is Songaresexual, also referred to as Somnisexual, Umisexual, or previously Dreamsexual, and no, this is not referring to a certain individual. While I can't find any meaning for the original flag stripes, I did find a definition for the alternative Songaresexual flag. The alternative flag was created by user SquiddyD on January 31st, 2021. The pink gradient represents the soft, vague, misty, sweet side of dreams, and the blue-gray gradient represents the more turbulent, bizarre, and darker side of dreams. The black stripe represents the night. This term was coined by an anonymous user on January 24th, 2021, while the original flag was created by Clear Skies on January 26th, 2021. Songaresexual is someone who only feels sexual attraction during dreams, but rarely or never feels sexual attraction when awake. Songaromantic also has two alternative flags. Here they are. What's another word for next? I keep saying next so much it doesn't feel like a word. Preceding? That's too fancy. No, you know what? Preceding the Songaresexual flag is Acejump. Oh, look at me, all fancy and good at English. Unfortunately, for this unique flag, I could not find any meaning for the stripes. However, I can tell you that it was coined by Tumblr user Luigi's Mogai Mansion on May 20th, 2020, while this alternative flag was created by Reddit user Orion1626 on October 23rd, 2020. Acejump is described as typically feeling sexual attraction, but occasionally has rare, sudden, and intense spikes of asexuality for a certain amount of time. The counterpart to this asexuality identity is AroJump, and here's the flag. Moving on to our next term, we have IDM Sexual. Once again, unfortunately, I have no insight to the color's meanings besides the fact that the IDM name was chosen because idem means the same in Latin. The term was coined by a deactivated Tumblr user on or before July 3rd, 2015. IDM Sexual is when one experiences no notable internal difference between platonic and sexual feelings, often categorizing relationships and feelings as platonic or sexual based on external factors. On the flip side of this is IDM romantic, and here's that flag! Coming up next is a term you may have heard before, and that's Lithosexual, also sometimes referred to as Akoisexual. These stripes stand for sensitivity, life, leadership, and community, Lithosexuality, varied relationships, loyalty, honor, sexuality, and asexuality. This term was coined on avian forums sometimes in or before 2014, and the exact creator of the flag is unknown. Lithosexual is someone who experiences sexual attractions but loses feelings if the feelings are reciprocated. The reason this term has two names is due to the fact that litho means stone, and in the lesbian community, a stone lesbian is the term that is used. I will not explain the term meaning as unfortunately it's not channel friendly. But because of that, Lithosexual could potentially be interpreted as being related to this term. However, there has not been any consensus about the term, both in the asexual and lesbian community. There is no apparent evidence that this specific term, lithosexual, was ever commonly used by lesbians, so currently lithosexual and akoisexual are both used interchangeably. Lithoromantic or akoiromantic flag looks like this. And a term very similar to akoisexual is Feasexual. And because the sexuality gods hate me with a burning passion, these flag stripes meaning are unknown, the date it was made unknown, and of course, the creator is unknown. What I do know, however, is what this term means. Feasexual is feeling sexual attraction, but the attraction goes away or even turns into disgust when acted upon. The difference between Feasexual and akoisexual is that Feasexual is you yourself acting upon your feelings, while akoisexual is when they are reciprocated. As always, here's the Fey romantic flag. And heading towards the end of our list, we have Caligosexual. You know the drill. Apparently, I have no idea what I'm talking about, so I have no idea what these stripes stand for. This term was coined by Tumblr user Pride Flags for Us on or before May 27, 2016. The original flag was created by the same user around the same time as the coining. Caligosexual is someone whose sexual attraction feels that it is very weak or vague, almost non-existent, like vapor, fog, or mist. And here is the Caligo romantic flag. Moving right along, we have Alicosexual. Dark purple and black symbolizes the asexual community, purple represents the asexual spectrum, white symbolizes the validity of agnosexual individuals, gray represents the partial lack of sexual attraction, and pink represents sexual attraction. The term Alicosexual and the flag were created on January 17th, 2021 by GreyAce. Alicosexual is someone who's on the asexual spectrum but doesn't fit into any existing labels. Alico comes from a Latin word, alcabi, meaning somewhere, anywhere. As per our trend, here's the Alico-romantic flag. Following suit is Apothisexual. The meaning behind this flag is unknown, though presumably the purple stripe represents asexuality, the red stripe represents alosexuality, and the X represents repulsion. Apothisexual was coined sometime in or before 2014, possibly by this Tumblr user, who is now deactivated. The flag was created in 2014 by Anonymous via Pride Flags for Us. Apothisexual is sex repulsed asexuals. And here is Apothiromantic, the aromantic form. Our last term for this video, or technically two, is Aceflux. Red represents allosexuals and purple represents asexuals. The gradient represents how Aceflux individuals can move from feeling strongly asexual to strongly allosexual. While I can't find the original creator of the flag, the alternative Aceflux flag was created by Tumblr user Tooth City in 2020 and was designed to maintain the same meaning as the original flag while also being more accessible, especially to those who suffer from eye strain. Aceflux is a sexual orientation that fluctuates but generally stays on the asexual spectrum. As well as a flag, this term also has a symbol. The Aceflux symbol was created by a fandom user, WeFineLM, on October 28th, 2021 for an LGBTQ+ poster. And here's the Aroflux flag. And with that concludes our video for today, showcasing asexual identities while bringing the aromantic version of those flags. Next video will be doing the exact opposite with another 12 turn. Thank you for sticking around and learning with me. Happy Pride Month, and I can't wait to see you all for the next episode of FLAG-Plations. Queer out!